Welcome to the new world of animal allies, the doctors, volunteers, pet owners and other surprising visitors who are out there making a difference. In the UK, guide dog trainer Kevin Rowney helps Tyne settle in with his new owner. While in Australia, the tiny chuditch is given a hand by animal helpers at Perth Zoo. Ever wanted a champion show cat? Animal Allies How-To has some invaluable hints. And in Animal World, a giant elephant herd is causing problems at the Amboseli National Park.
These dogs are in the final stages of their training at the Guide Dogs for the Blind Association in Essex, England. They've spent the past 11 weeks preparing for their future with instructors Vanessa Layton and Kevin Rowney. They've been assessing the dogs' skills and personality so they can place them with suitable new owners. Cara has been matched with Hilary Jones, and Tyne will go to John Osborne, and it's the instructor's job now to help both the dogs and their new companions adjust to life together.
It can be stressful for everybody, for the person training, for the dog, and our job is to make sure that we sort of make the thing come together in such a way that we reduce that stress level both for the dog and for the client.
Hi there. Hello, sweetie.
John and Hilary have spent the past 3 weeks taking part in a live-in course to learn how to work with and care for their guide dogs.
People's interpretation could be that you would just pick up the handle of the dog and off you would go, but in reality it's nothing like that. People all have different physical skills in following and mental skills in learning, and the dog's guiding skills are different in a way, and our job is to try and interpret that for the person initially, and then as the person shows a sign of being able to take on more and more, then we can step back a little bit.
An important factor in making sure the partnership will work is choosing the right dog. John's needs are quite specific.
I asked for a dog that was very adaptable because I work as a social worker and I go into all sorts of situations. I'm always on the move. I work in central London, so I actually needed a dog that could adapt to all situations.
So Tyne's basic characteristics and temperaments reflect and suit John's lifestyle. Although he's quite a sensitive type, he's one that, given time and maturity, will take a good deal of responsibility. He doesn't mind being in busy areas, he doesn't mind loud noises. He's very good socially, he's quite happy just to lie down and go to sleep.
Finding the right match is a good start, but there's still a lot to learn. Trust is one of the major hurdles.
Tyne is quite fast, and I've previously walked with a white cane, probably the pace of a snail, and suddenly, you know, he's like a rocket. And the fear is that you're going to hit your head. You gradually build up the trust. But it was quite frightening. And it still is.
Another aspect of forming a successful working relationship is learning to read the dog's language and understanding how to respond. Guide dogs know they're on duty when their harness is secure. Taught to lead in a straight line, they'll navigate around obstacles and stop at curbs. Today, John and Hilary are going on a supervised walk in public to practice navigating unknown territory with their dogs. The weather conditions are far from ideal.
Right, just follow the pavement round and find the curb. We'll be there if you make a mistake.
Although guide dogs serve as the eyes of their companion, they rely on their master for direction, so Hilary and John need an idea of where they're going in order to maintain control. Tyne is briefly distracted by another dog, teaching John how it feels when his guide loses concentration.
Off you go. Use your snorkel if you need it. So this is dropping back, it's just giving them more and more time to get ahead, to feel the dog's movements, because it's not as smooth as people would think. It takes time to get used to it.
After a successful walk under difficult conditions, everyone is happy and it's time to return to the training centre.
When the rain's firing at you, your concentration level has to be so high. And all you want to do is get him in the bus.
Another lesson Hilary and John must learn is always to put their dogs first, so after a walk in the rain, it's Cara and Tyne who get the first towel drying. Slowly the understanding is building and the dogs are learning who's boss.
And I have to rule this dog. And You know, if you're a reasonably nice person, it's very hard, especially when he's just taken you on a long walk, to talk down to him like that. But that's the way it is. And he's got to know that I'm his boss.
The hierarchy we look for is that the person is the pack leader, and therefore if the person gets the respect of the dog, maintains and utilises the dog's willingness, then you'll have a happy pack.
John and Hilary are just two of thousands of people who use guide dogs. Though guide dogs go back for almost 200 years, it wasn't until 1918 that the movement really began, when a school was started in Germany to help soldiers blinded in World War I. Several different breeds of dog have been used throughout history, chosen for their size, temperament and intelligence. Today, guide dogs are used in over 25 countries. The most popular breeds are Labradors, like Tyne and Cara. Although the course is going well, a major challenge still lies ahead for Hilary and John. Nerves surface as they prepare for a night walk.
It's the first walk in the dark, and I don't see at all in the dark. I have a little vision in the daylight, so it's going to be quite scary, really, to be honest.
In Animal Doctors Part 2, Hilary and John will be led by Tyne and Cara on their first ever night walk.
Ever seen anything like this before? This is a chuditch, the largest carnivorous marsupial found in Australia. It's about the size of a small domestic cat, and at night their eyes reflect orangey red. This female is part of a captive breeding programme at Perth Zoo. A female chuditch can mate with many males over a short period of time. Her pregnancy lasts for just 3 weeks. Usually she gives birth to between 2 and 6 youngsters that are only as big as a grain of rice. These are obviously older and bigger than that, and the mother carries them in her pouch for about 9 weeks, or until they can't hang on any longer. By the time they're 16 weeks old, these little chuditch are ready to explore the world by themselves. At one time, the chuditch could be found right across Australia, but they died out rapidly after European settlement. They vanished completely from the east coast of Australia by the 1900s. Today they can only be found in small pockets in the Jarrah forests of the southwest. But thanks to the animal helpers at Perth Zoo, the Government Department of Conservation and a mining company, there's a major push to save this animal from extinction. And as part of the chuditch recovery plan, conservation officers have identified a number of hotspots in the forest where they live. They're only accessible by 4-wheel drive.
Where do you reckon is a good place to put it?
These animal helpers are Keith Morrison and Stephanie Maxwell. They're field workers in the recovery plan. The pair have laid traps at various locations around the forest in the hope of catching some of the wild population.
The chuditch trapping that we were doing today as part of our monitoring program, one of the problems we've had with chuditch is that it's predated by foxes. And we're now baiting a large area of the northern Jarrah forest where we are now for foxes, and our car is in fact supporting that program as well. And this is part of our regular monitoring which we do in this area to look at the numbers of chuditch after the baiting. And in fact what we're finding is that chuditch numbers generally are increasing in areas that have been fox baited, and so that's a positive for chuditch conservation. There she is. Let's take a head measurement.
Now they've caught a chuditch, they'll take its vital statistics and then release it back into the wild. The thing that worries these scientists is that there are only 4,500 of these little animals left. There are many small marsupials which are also endangered, like the bealby, the woylie, one of the world's smallest kangaroos, and the echidna, an ant-eating marsupial. And like all of these, the chuditch is extremely shy and mainly nocturnal. Once this animal has been checked, it's released back into the wild.
The long-term aim is to downgrade the conservation status of the chuditch from its present endangered status to vulnerable status. Which means that the risk to the animal is not as great as it presently is.
Back at Perth Zoo, the captive breeding programme continues. Current stock will be released back into the wild next year, and special community groups will be formed to help monitor their progress and to keep an eye out for foxes. After the break, Animal Allies returns to find out if John and Hilary can make their way through London's dark streets. And the Maasai have found a solution for Amboseli's elephant problem. Breeding pedigree cats can be a rewarding experience, but requires endless time, money and most of all, love. Animal Allies investigates the ins and outs of breeding pedigree cats. Nobody knows more about breeding cats than Frances de Courcy-Rolls, a British short-hair cat breeder.
You do it for love. Some people make money out of their cat breeding, but for the majority of us, you don't.
Frances believes that not everyone understands exactly what it takes to breed a pedigree cat.
True love of the cats, time, money and space.
Breeding cats is expensive. Aside from the basics like food, there are hidden expenses including vaccinations, grooming, insurance and show costs.
You bring them into the world, you're totally responsible for them. You're responsible for their mother and sometimes you're responsible for the father.
It requires boundless time, commitment and energy and won't suit everyone's lifestyle.
It's like having a baby. You can't just put the baby down and come back to it. It's the same as a kitten. You have to groom them all. Also kittens, you have to litter train them. You have to feed them, you have to wean them. And kittens don't just have one meal a day, so you have to be there to give them meals throughout the day. So if you're working a job that's very time consuming, kittens is not going to fit in around that.
Holidays will also be a thing of the past.
Last time we all went on holiday as a family, 13 years ago, before we started breeding cats.
Be prepared for the cats to take over the house, inside and out. Cats and particularly kittens require lots of space and a secure run is essential. But despite all the difficulties, breeding pedigree cats can be a highly rewarding experience. Before committing, check out this week's Animal Allies How-To. Breeding cats takes time, money and commitment. Contact the local breeding society for advice on which cat to choose. Research into the different cat breeds. Talk to other breeders. Nestled at the base of Mount Kilimanjaro in Kenya is the Amboseli National Wildlife Park. Though one of the smallest game reserves in the country, this park is famous for its large herds of elephants, even though almost 400 other species live here. Every year, thousands of people come here on wildlife safaris. The raw beauty of this park has made it one of the most popular in the world. But recently, Amboseli has undergone a dramatic change. This environmental success story is turning into a disaster. The large herds of elephants that were once so endangered are now beginning to destroy the park, leaving it a dust bowl. Because of their eating habits, this large concentration of elephants is slowly destroying the trees, which is loosening the earth. This wouldn't be a problem, except the wind which blows through Amboseli is what the local Maasai people call the devil wind. It picks up any topsoil there is and simply blows it away. When Kenya became an animal ally and outlawed the ivory trade, Amboseli became a sanctuary for the elephants. If they lived inside the park, they were safe from poachers. 20 years ago, Amboseli was a thick, rich plain of acacia trees, but today it has the largest herd of elephants in the world and is virtually a dust bowl. Now the threat from poachers has diminished, the Kenyan Wildlife Service is actively seeking ways of encouraging the elephants to stay outside the park, This, however, presents its own problems. Michael Kipko of the Kenyan Wildlife Service says the local community sees elephants as a threat to their crops, so they're exploring ways to reduce this potential conflict.
At the moment, we are sharing the revenue we collect from the gates. They're getting 25% of what we get from our entrance gates, the revenue collected from Amboseli. We give to the community to start their own projects of their own choice without our say over them.
In return for their share of the tourist dollar, the local tribespeople will allow the elephants to graze their land. But major institutions and government agencies are not the only groups able to become animal allies. Individuals can also play a vital role. An international tour operator has come up with an even more ambitious plan to save the Amboseli National Park. They've brokered a deal with the park's traditional owners, the Maasai people, to harness the enthusiasm of the growing breed of eco-tourist. Each year, this company brings thousands of these tourists to Amboseli. Each of them will plant their own acacia tree. The goal is to plant at least 1 million trees. The trees will act as a windbreak, which will help to eliminate the dust bowl and restore Amboseli to its former splendour. The project is now up and running, and at a tree planting ceremony, the local Maasai people come together with a group of eco-tourists to celebrate this new beginning.
And when I say 1 million trees in 50 years, that's our first target. But I know in less than that time, around 30 years, we'll be aiming for the second million. And we've already seen what it's done to Amboseli in the short period of 18 months. It has brought back the wildlife, the bird life. It's unbelievable, the number of birds. When you got more flamingos here than you have at Lake Nakuru, that itself is proof of what it's done. And without trees, nothing else survives. We need people to love trees, to understand that tree has life. Very few of us understand that every tree has the same life and the lifespan that we have. And that's what we need, an understanding. And more people to give. We are giving back what we've taken from this country, basically.
The park is now facing a brighter future where not only the massive herds of elephants are safe, but the environment will prosper as well.
The 3-week training course is drawing to a close. Hilary and John's confidence has grown dramatically since they first arrived, and in a few days they'll leave the security of the group and return to their lives in the outside world. It's not over yet though. First they must face a final challenge, their first night walk.
I think we got to a familiar area. I think it's just going to be the complete trust of time. It's, although I don't see very much, that little bit of vision helps quite a bit in some respects.
Many blind people have some residual vision. They may be able to see shapes or objects in their peripheral view which assist them with their mobility. Walking in the dark is therefore very unsettling because the little sight they may rely on in the daylight is no longer available.
What we're going to do, we're going to start from the top end of the high street outside McDonald's. We're going to have road on the right. We're going to go
Vanessa briefs the group on where they'll be walking. It's a route they're familiar with, but at night it's going to feel very different.
May spook at some of the shadows. How do you feel about going out this evening and doing the night walk?
A bit nervous.
Apprehensive. Yeah. Just do exactly what you do during the day. Just be nice and confident and reassuring with the dogs. And
It's important how you react to the dogs. Even if you're nervous, you've got to almost be an actor and sort of keep them relaxed.
As the briefing draws to a close, the group work hard at containing their nerves so the dogs remain calm.
Come on, that's a good night. Let's get outside.
Okay, we'll go on the bus, one at a time, take your time.
For some of the group, this is an exercise which they will probably never repeat. In John's case, it's a skill he will take with him and use often. With their harnesses on, the dogs know they're here to work, and the walk begins. With few people around, the dogs set a cracking pace. Hilary and John don't appear to be unsettled by the speed, despite the fact they're not used to walking so fast. They complete the route in record time.
I found it very stressful, actually. Time was going very, very quick. I was struggling to slow down. It's exciting to go at that speed because I've never walked at that speed with a cane. No, overall, it was good. I'm glad we've done it.
Relieved it's over, the group head to the pub to relax. The next challenge this group face will be returning to life at home with their new companions.
I'm looking forward to it, and I've enjoyed the time here. But now I just want to get home to start work with my dog and look after my dog.
Yes, I think it's a huge change for me. I've used a cane for many, many years, and I've almost gone through a pregnancy, I feel. I've got a new baby. It's going to be very different. It's going to be lots of things to learn.
In the next programme, the new world of animal allies continues when Doc Rogers has to operate on a lively but dangerous female leopard. And Dr. Justine gets handy with the clippers.
There are ways to make a difference.